Welcome to davidfouad.com. I'm your knowledgeable Winnipeg realtor. Did you know that when you buy residential resale, meaning used real estate, that there are no guarantees and warranties given to you as a buyer? This is important because when you're buying used real estate, you're buying in an as-is state. In the offer to purchase and other parts of the contract work when buying real estate, it specifically talks about the fact that there's no guarantees and warranties, and to make sure that you seek out the right people for the right information if need be. So on the offer to purchase, in total we have 4 pages, and on the 3rd page at the very bottom there's a line for you as a buyer to sign, and then a line for your witness to sign, and then above that there's a paragraph that's typed in capitalized bold lettering. That paragraph I read out loud every time I write an offer to purchase. I read it out loud to my buyer. And then after we go through the offer to purchase and all the additional paperwork, we go through it line by line, page by page. I then give it all to my buyer. I step back and I make sure they go through it themselves. Something that you need to know as a buyer is you're fully responsible for your state and condition when writing an offer to purchase and signing an offer to purchase with me. The reason why I say that is you need to be alert, well rested, well fed. Otherwise, you're going to make a decision that you may regret. Unlike other types of purchases, we can't just go back to the house store and say, I'd like to return the house. I made a bad decision, or I rushed my decision. This is the most important purchase of your life. So I want you to make sure that you do your part and take care of yourself when the time comes to do the paperwork. So page 3 of the offer to purchase. I'm going to read this paragraph to you right now. Buyers are strongly urged to consider making their own inquiries with respect to issues of importance to them, keeping in mind that the seller's knowledge of the property may be incomplete or inaccurate. This offer, if accepted, is a legally binding contract. Read it all before you sign. Both buyers and sellers are advised to seek professional advice if they have any questions regarding the property or concerns regarding any promises, representations, or undertakings. On page 2 of the offer to purchase, point 4b, it's called additional promises. I use this spot every time I write an offer to purchase. I put in things here that have to do with stuff that's not already templated into this offer to purchase. And if I don't have enough space, which is often the case, I'll gladly use what we call Schedule A's or Schedule B's and put in detail the information that is important to my buyer when buying real estate. And again, terms and conditions is what I'm talking about. When you go down on page 2, there's stuff that talks about property disclosure statements, stuff about home inspections, stuff about mortgage financing. These are all things that are important for most people. And like I said, whenever there's gaps that I see in the offer to purchase, which is every time I write an offer to purchase, I gladly do the extra work and create schedules as amendments to the actual offer to purchase. The property disclosure statement is a 3-page document that the seller completes with their realtor. So this document has 19 questions that you'd answer as a seller, yes or no, or does not apply. And if you answer yes to any of the questions, it's not considered a good thing. But on the 3rd page in this empty paragraph space, you can, as a seller, put in a reason why you have yes here. So you could put something as a seller that says, well, I had this problem, yes I did, but, or and, I've repaired it, and this is the result since I've repaired it. What I'll do with my sellers is I'll encourage them to complete this property disclosure statement before they list the property. I then scan it, and with their consent, I'll post it online under the MLS property listing, and that way potential buyers can peruse through it before even they write an offer. Sometimes if putting it online is not something that's the seller is comfortable with, I'll say, well, let's complete it and even leave it on the dining table, and that way at least buyers can look through it. It's especially important, in my professional opinion, to do this when you've had a repair. If you had any kind of moderate to major repair, and answering yes to any of these questions may hurt you as a seller, defend your case. Put in your case about the repair and how it's fixed the problem. This is what I want to get to. That's the most important part of the property disclosure statement. This is the paragraph that I think most average realtors must be skipping, because it's not something that I'm seeing sellers fully understand after the fact. So under important notes on page 1, there's this statement I want to read to you. This statement referred to in paragraph 7 of the offer. It is based on the seller's actual knowledge and accuracy of his or her recollection. While the seller is required to give true and accurate responses based on his or her knowledge, the responses do not constitute warranties as to the actual condition of the property. So this is where I hear the most misunderstandings when it comes to this document with buyers and sellers. A buyer may go to the realtor after the fact or their lawyer and say, okay, question whatever, 5, states that they never had this problem. And a week after moving into the property, this problem appeared. So Mr. Lawyer, Mr. Realtor, you should go back to the seller and say, look, you answered this question inaccurately. You said that you don't have this problem. Well, when you read this paragraph, it states it's based on their knowledge as of today. Like, they sign it as of the day that they've completed it. So there could be a problem that's underlying that the seller doesn't know about. It could be something behind walls. It could be something that isn't an obvious problem. So regardless of how they answer, they're basing it on their information, their knowledge. I've had it where I helped my buyer buy a property. The seller completed this property disclosure based on our request. It so happened that the seller has been living in the property for, I think, 38 years. She was a widow at the time. She moved her laundry, I believe, upstairs, but the only reason she'd go in the basement nowadays, meaning at the time we wrote the offer, were for things like laundry, because everything else was upstairs. It was a bungalow, it was a one-level house. Regardless of where the laundry was, she didn't go past this certain spot in her basement. After the fact, my buyers said, we have this problem that wasn't answered correctly, in our opinion, on this property disclosure. This person said no, and it should have been yes. Well, we go right back to this document. It states that there's no warranties, and it's not a promise that this is even accurate information. It's based on the knowledge of the seller. So we have to take it with a grain of salt when we request the property disclosure statement. You have to take it with a grain of salt when we get any information, whether it be from a tradesperson, whether it be from a home inspector. The information that you glean from all of these providers, you need to then decide, what information am I going to put the most weight on? So what I want to leave you with today is that, as I mentioned, there's no warranties or guarantees. My job is to get you as much pertinent information as possible, and my job is to make sure you don't make a rush decision under the worst conditions. That's your Fouad for Thought for today. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on all of my social media. You can connect with me directly at sales@davidfouad.com. You can connect with me by phone at 204-228-0588. I look forward to connecting with you, and have a great rest of your day.